Welcome everybody to a brand new TEW 2020 project here. Basically what we're doing is starting the Women's Revolution kind of early on the indie scene in 2010 with a created fed Valkyrie Pro Wrestling. Basic idea is, we've got a bunch of, not a bunch of companies, but a bunch of indie wrestlers and former stars who are no longer with the WWE, and they're now in promotion. The product is wrestling as wrestling soap opera, so it's not. Basically, it's about halfway, it's slightly better wrestling, but still sort of like the same over-the-top antics as, say, a Glow or something like that. Because, let's be honest, in 2010, nobody's buying as a TV show a pure women's wrestling product. Eventually, maybe we'll slowly, especially as our wrestlers get better, because again, we're starting with sort of the bottom of the dregs, we'll start with, as the wrestlers get better and moreover, we'll slowly move over to a less crazy product, or less goofy product. So, as far as broadcasting go, I have a weekly show with HDNet. Size-wise, as I have, it's 30 everywhere, so the Southwest, where we're 40s. Events is basically just, because this is basically like a TV product. Like, this is not a building to a pay-per-view or anything like this. This is a TV product where you show up and watch every week, for fun. Late night. So I'm thinking like 11 p.m. or something on HDNet. Production-wise, we've got semi-pro, small, hired pro, and local, just to sort of, so HDNet is happy with us. We're starting off with 235,000 because I needed to boot up the production goals. Let's see, is there anything else interesting going on? My announcers are going to be Rob Naylor and Nora Greenwald. And the rest of the roster, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to intro the rest of the roster as if you're tuning in for the first time on the actual show. And how the actual shows are going to work is basically you're going to get a month on a time per video, because since these are only hour-long TV shows, not a ton is happening. Let's see, is there anything else? Merch. We'll start that upgrade. And I actually think that's it. Because just the events. And there's nothing else. So, in a second here, we'll actually be on the show, and it'll be time for the first edition of Valkyrie Battle. Live, well, not live, because we're taping 4 shows at a time, but, on HDNet. Okay, got the first show booked, so let's get rolling with the first edition of Valkyrie Battle on HDNet. So we start out with Nora Greenwald, basically, welcoming the crowd to the show, and started, saying that this is a new era of women's wrestling, where women can be athletes, characters, and more than just bikini models. And I'm that she's glad several wrestlers from the WWF or WWE have joined her, and I'm not going to be some person who talks a lot. So let me just go back to the ringside area with my partner Rob Naylor, and let's get this thing started. So we change her gimmick to Women's Legend, and it gets a very good gimmick, and well, that doesn't really matter since she won't really be wrestling, but that's interesting. And it also gets a 34, which isn't bad considering. In our first match, we've got the former Simply Luscious Jasmine Lawson, defeating Eric Erico in 5:19 by pinfall while using the ropes for leverage. So this is set up as a babyface match, but at the end, Jasmine Lawson uses the ropes for leverage to get the pin, and this gets a freaking 0. Wow. Well, Luscious gets a 6, Erica gets a 13, so I'm not too surprised, but not the end of the world. And then after the match, I forgot to actually include the heel turn gimmick here. So she basically cuts a promo saying, she's Luscious Jasmine Lawson. She's the best wrestler on this roster, and she's tired of acting like a good little girl, and she's going to prove that why she's the best from now on. And this gets 27, which isn't actually that bad. Then we have a quick little segment where Lena Yada and Su Young agree to team up tonight, and do it together. So this gets a 22. Now let's handle some changes. So Lena Yada's gimmick Gets a young gun gimmick, gets a rating of 52. And Su Yun's gimmick gets a Rising Star gimmick, which gets an initial rating of adequate. And also, her face turn was a complete success. So hooray. Now we go up to the actual match where they're facing Valentina Love, who you might know her as Lexi. What's her name? Lexi Valentine, I think it was. Lizzie Valentine. Yeah, Lizzie Valentine. And Alexis Nevia, and I swear to God, that's her real wrestling name. I don't know. And they basically like come out and they're, I don't want to say like evil wrestlers, but they're just they're a quasi sort of beautiful people because they're both blonde and everything. But in an abysmal match, but even though it only goes 7 minutes, Lina Yata and Su Yung defeat Valentina Love and Alexis Nevia in 7:07 when Lina Yata submitted Alexis Nevia with the Goku Roku Gatami. Okay. And that gets an 11. Young gets 11. Yata gets a 14. Nevia gets a 7. Valentina Love gets a 17. Bout dragged in the middle. Okay. And if we handle some changes, we changed her gimmick to influencer gimmick, which I realized is a little early for 2010, but it was beginning to happen. Maybe she's on YouTube. And it gets a very good. And losses hurt more momentum more than usual, and gets a small penalty charisma. That's too bad. And then she gets her gimmick is now Queen Bitch, and gets an initial rating of great. And yeah, there we go. And the Bayface is celebrating real quick, gets a 24. And then we have Candice Mill showing up. She gets a pretty big pop because, she's actually known. She was just in WWE. And then she basically, again, I keep on forgetting to add the heel turns. Well, basically she does turn, she just about turns heel here and says, she's still a star. Now she's here, in this podunk arena dealing with these idiotic fans. But tonight, she knows Tori Wilson, who, she knew from the WD, has a match tonight in the main event, and she's going to be out here at the announcing desk just watching. And this gets a 41. And then we have a mysterious video where we don't even see the woman, even though you can see the woman. And basically it's just like a pot, a cauldron boiling, steam rising up, and a graphic says something is coming. And this gets 24, which isn't bad at all. Then we have an abysmal match, Ashanti Cross, the former Athena, and future Ember Moon, defeating Alexis Hayes in 350 by submission. This gets a 5, so Cross got a 10, Hayes got a 14. And then her athlete gimmick gets a great, so that's good. And then her Girl Next Door gimmick gets a rating of adequate. So this gets a 5. And then the post-match where Ashanti gets the hold locked on for a couple more minutes gets an 18. And then Jane Chung comes out, and her gimmick is sex positive, but in a heel way. Yeah, I know it's terrible, but, heels can be terrible too. And basically she runs down Nora Greenwald for, you're okay, even though you acted like you didn't. You loved the money that you got from the bikini calendars in WDF, and now we're just supposed to be athletes and entertainers. Yes, I'm a great athlete, and I'm going to prove that when I beat that blonde bimbo Tori tonight. But more importantly, I can be sexy and also a great athlete. This gets a 28. And then our actual main event with Tori Wilson gets a 30 as Wilson defeats Jane Chung at 44 by pinfall to set out Facebuster. Gets a 30, Tori gets a 43, Jane Chung gets a 10. And then we'll handle some changes, and yeah, this big time star gimmick gets a great. And then the show ends with a stare down between Tori and Candice, and that gets a 47. So overall, this gets a 27, which is, not the best, but it's about what I expected. So in a second here, we'll be back with the second show. Alright, time for episode 2, and let's get started. So basically, Tori opens the show and basically, goes, I don't know what's with Candice. We never had any problems back in WWE, but if she wants a fight, I'm plenty open for one. And Candice comes out and says, well, I'm not ready to fight you one-on-one tonight, but if you can find a tag partner. I'll find a tag partner, and then I'll show you just why I should have been the dominant diva and why I'm going to be the dominant wrestler here in Valkyrie Pro. Okay, and this gets a 51. Still a solid thing. Oh, I keep on forgetting to turn her heel. Okay. So we're going to return to the booking screen real quick. And we have a quick Emmy Hanning promo where she basically goes over the fact that she's a second generation superstar, and because she's a second generation superstar, she's the best wrestler here, and she's going to prove it tonight against whatever scrub Valkyrie Pro has for her to beat. And yeah, that's a heel turn. And turn was complete success. So this gets 24, which actually isn't that bad. And then we have time for the actual match, which gets a 3 against Sophia Sainz, who you may recognize as somebody else in real life. But, I'm sure this person does not like hugs at all. Anyway, Amy gets a 7, Sophia gets a 15, match brought the crowd down, and Amy Hennig defeats Sophia Sainz in 509 by pinfall, the Fisherman Suplex. So, not the best match in history, but it's getting there. We're getting there slowly. And then we have a Veronica Starr video. For those who don't know, this is Lana Starr from the WoW promotion from the early 2000s, and she was available. She has decent stats, so I thought, why not bring her in as Veronica Starr, just because that's so basically it's like a old school Hollywood actress gimmick, and that gets a very good, cool. And it also got 22. Then we have a Buggy and CVE in promo. And if we do the promo here, okay, so her skater punk gets an awful gimmick. That's unfortunate. Okay, so this gets a 15, and basically this is them just doing a typical heel promo. You're talking about how they're the cool girls of Valkyrie Pro. Others are lame because, they know real music, and insert random, actually very popular rock and punk bands. So maybe a good Charles mention, because that'd be funny, or Blink-182, and this gets a 15. Meanwhile, in the actual match against Kaylee Snow, who you may know better as Chris Nestara or Chrissy Vane, and Maria Diana Machado, who you may know better as Santana Garrett. So there's a tag match, and Buggy Nova and CVE defeat Kaylee Snow and Maria Diana Machado in 737. When Von Eerie submitted Kaylee Snow with the West Coast Curse, this gets a 14. Von Eerie gets 15, so does Kaylee Snow. Buggy Nova gets a 10. MDMA gets a 9. And yeah, that's about it. And then the heel celebrating gets a 24. Then we have, in a quick abysmal match, Tigra, who you know better as Raka Khan from TNA, defeats Erica Dario in 304 by pinfall of the chokeslam. This gets an 8. Tiger gets 16. Eric gets a 14. Match brought the crowd down. And then Tiger celebrating gets a 24. Again, if you notice, the actual promo parts much better than the matches. Then we have the same mysterious video as last week, except we see a little bit of the woman, and it still says something strange is coming, and this gets a 26. Then we just have we just had to do the heel turn here. So this is a 22, but it doesn't really count. Then in our main event, Tori Wilson and her teammate Veronica Starr takes on Candice Michelle and her teammate Taylor Thompson, who the picture is not coming up. Okay, I'll have to go back and fix that. And about had decent reaction from the crowd with terrible wrestling, Candice Michelle and Taylor Thompson defeated Tori Wilson and Veronica Starr in 12:26 when Candice Michelle pinned Veronica Starr after using a foreign object. So this gets a 28. Tori Wilson gets a 43. Starr gets a 7. Taylor gets 16. Candice gets a 38. And her prima donna gimmick gets a great, so that's good. And then we go to where the heels are celebrating. Well, Tori fumes in the ring, and that gets a 39. Oh, nope. So we'll turn her heel, and then we'll actually finish the show. So this gets a 26, which again, not the best, but we're getting there. So yeah, we'll finish this show and then be back in a second with the third show of this taping cycle. Alright, time for show 3 of this cycle, so let's get rolling. So we've got the show opening, which basically just says, Candice is in action tonight, with the announcers going over that fact, and that gets a 39. So we go to the opening tag match, which is between two of the tag teams that have lost in the past couple weeks, and in an abysmal match, which is still a 15, which is actually better than what we've been seeing. Maria Diana Machado and Kaylee Snow defeated Valentina Love and Alexis Navia in 7:04 when Kaylee Snow pinned Alexis Navia with a choke bomb. Ouch! And Alexis got a 10, Valentina got a 17, Kaylee got a 14, and Maria got an 11. And, I didn't notice this last time, but Valentina and Alexis showed excellent chemistry teaming together. Great. And then the babyface is celebrating, that gets a 26. Next we have a quick promo with Sophia Sainz, which gets a 31 that basically says, she's just a fighter and she's going to do her best out there and do what she can to win and, wrestle out there for the great fans in Valkyrie Pro. That gets 31, and then the actual match, Luscious Jasmine Lawson defeated Sophia Sainz in 5:41 by using the rope leverage. This gets a 15. Sophia gets a 15, Jasmine gets a 13, and then after the match, Luscious basically makes the crying eyes with her hands, mocks Sophia saying, "Oh, I fight over fans. Well, you can fight however hard you want for the fans, but you're still a loser, and I'm a winner." This gets 16, which not great, but also not terrible either. And we have Mysterious video number 3 with Lil again. This time we see that it is Shelly Martinez, and this gets a 31. Next up we have a Tori Wilson promo where she says, she's going to get Candice in the ring eventually. Then Amy Hennig comes out and says, "I'm tired of you two former divas fighting. I want you to face a real wrestler." And Tori agrees, and then we have a match, and that gets a 38. Then in the actual match, which gets a 33, Tori Wilson defeated Amy Hennig in 6:34 by pinfall to sit-off facebuster. So that gets a 33. Tori gets a 44. Amy gets a 10. And then Tori celebrating gets a 54. Then we have a Su Yung promo saying, Candice probably isn't even thinking about her because she's so worried about facing Tori. Well, she's still a young wrestler, but she's going to do her best to prove that, she belongs here in Valkyrie Pro, which gets a 29. And the actual match gets, and Tori is still here and she's at ringside, so that's 55. And in the actual match gets a 29 as Candice Mill defeats Su Yung in 8:49 with the inverted underhook facebuster. Candice gets 37, Su gets a 10. And the show finishes with Candice continuing the beatdown on Yang, and Tori runs in and basically chases her off. And that gets a 41. So the show itself gets a 31, which is an improvement. And you sort of see the thing we'll probably have to do here for the next couple of weeks, which is keep Candice and Tori in separate matches, at least until some slightly more over people are available, or the other women in the company get a little more over. Anyway, we'll be back in a second with the last show of the taping. Alright, time for the last show of the taping here with Valkyrie Pro, so let's get rolling. And this is just opening just so I can actually officially turn Rob face, because he was in here as a heel originally. Obviously, he's our face announcer. So this gets 28 and just opens the show. Start out with a match which is what they call not good, as Ashanti Cross, the feature in Moon, defeats Niata in 4:59 by submission. This gets a 2, because Jesus, wow. And yeah, this is just a straight up. Ashanti Cross is an athlete, Niata is a rising star, but she still can't, fight against Cross, and Cross gets her in a submission. So Ashanti keeps the hold on, but Su runs in and makes a save. Like I mentioned, Ashanti has her in some sort of leg lock. Su runs in and hits a quick drop kick to knock Ashanti away, and that gets a 22. So not bad at all. And then so Christina Von Erich comes out and challenges Su for a match right now. Basically goes, look, your team got lucky a couple weeks ago. Well, my team with Buggy is going to be the dominant tag team here in Valkyrie Pro. So let's actually prove who's better. That's a 29, which is actually a pretty good rating considering their overness. So, and then the actual match, which is not the best, but, not actually terrible either considering their overness. Christina Von Erich defeats Su Yung in 6:58 of a pinfall, following interference from Buggy as you expect, and this gets a 15. And then we go to the next segment, which is a beatdown. So this is just a 2-on-1 beatdown since since Lena can't make the save because she just got stretched out by Ashanti, and this gets a 15. So Young is getting better at her gimmick, though, which is good. And then we go on, and this is Final Mysterio video number 4, where we see it's Shelly Martinez Foley, and basically the text says Lilith will arrive soon. And this gets a 31. And then we have a segment where Jade Chung comes out, says Nora's kept her off the show ever since she spoke her mind on the first week. Nora basically comes in the ring and responds and says, no, you just haven't proven yourself to be worthy of another match. But I'll tell you what, next week, I'll have a match for you, and I'm sure you'll be happy with it. And that gets a 28, which is not terrible either, because, yeah, but still puts over this little angle we're doing here. And then Candice has a quick in-ring, making fun of Tori again, says she's going to prove right now that she's the best wrestler by, taking out whoever gets sent out here by Valkyrie Pro right now. And that gets a 51, which I think is probably our best segment. No, there was a couple segments, but this is one of our better segments, which hits a 51. And the actual match gets a 27, as Marina Diana Machado, the former Santana Garrett, Candice Michelle defeats her in 751 by a pinfall. This is totally clean, just, Candice is the bigger star, so she doesn't dominate, but is sort of is in charge the whole time, and hits her finisher and gets the win, and that gets a 27. Candice gets a 38, Marie gets a 15. And then Candice celebrating gets a 51. Next up, in our main event of the night, Tori Wilson defeats Taylor Thompson in 8:46 by pinfall to set off Faith Fester. Basically the same match as Candice, except Tori's the babyface, and so Tori, doesn't quite dominate, but has pretty much the advantage the whole time. Hits her finisher and gets the big win. That's 32. They have great chemistry, which is a positive. And then Tori celebrating gets a 58. So if we go to the final show, so this gets a 31. And let's go out to the actual show. So that finishes our taping for the whole month, which I actually like doing because it's then it just allows everything to go through. So let's see here, Valkyrie battle, Valkyrie battle, Valkyrie battle. And then if we look here, okay. So yeah, so our first show got 41,000 viewers. HG is unhappy with 2 of the shows, which I'm not surprised because it was 30. But if we go to our actual company here, so if we look at, right, we want to have any improvements, right? I want to make sure I'm not that dumb. So 54. Yeah, okay. So you won't see much of the result until I think the end of the month, or do they do the? I always forget this. Does it change automatically, or does it? Yeah, okay. So it changes automatically because if you see here, the women who didn't have, so interesting. No big changes yet. If we look at our, so basically, people are basically the same as they were before. Tori's a major star, Candice is a star, Lilith, Nora, and our referee are all recognizable, and everybody else is still unimportant, which is I'm not surprised by. If you look at momentum, the only cool people are Lena and Sue, so I might actually have to get them a win or two. Alexa, because she's a jobber, and I think Buggy's annoyed because, let's see here. Why are you annoyed? I forgot how to check that. Oh, right, yeah. We go to the roster. Go to Buggy. And she is annoyed. Right, because she had a poor new gimmick. Okay, that's what I expected. Regardless, so this is pretty much it. So, that's our first month. We'll see how things go through this month, and then we'll go back for the second show. So if you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below on what you're enjoying or not enjoying, or any ideas for women. In general, I'm trying to stay away from signing anybody who's with TNA, and I'm also going to try to not sign the obvious people. Basically, who in 2010 would a sort of, not gimmicky, but a entertainment-focused wrestling company, women's wrestling company, actually sign, as opposed to just, here's all the young, new, good workers. So I'm going to actually look at Shimmer's roster after this show, just to see if there's anybody who, in theory, if I had to talk to a TV network, I could convince them to bring them on. But otherwise, that's all for now. So talk to you later. Adios, and More fun TEW 2020 content on the way. Bye-bye.